What up, everybody? It's your boy Young Fizz, aka Mr. Dope Status on Instagram, and welcome back to another tutorial. So today it may be a little bit lengthy because I want to show you guys a little bit about MIDI inside of the machine, particularly the way I get MIDI inside of the machine using an external keyboard such as my Roland Fantom X6. So if you haven't already, if you can do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and please do not forget to turn on the bell notification. So whenever I drop a new video, you will be the first one to be notified. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's tutorial, which is working with MIDI. The first thing that we want to do, we want to make sure our MIDI is set up correctly inside a machine. So let's go ahead and go to our preferences. We can simply get there by hitting the command and then hit comma. That's going to bring up our preferences screen for machine. And then we want to go to the tab that says MIDI. All right. Now you'll see here, it says sync mode. We want to be looking at devices, it says input and output. And you want to make sure your MIDI interface is selected here. For me, I'm using something called the Mio, which is here, shows up on the input. You want to make sure this box is checked. And then same thing for the output. You want to make sure the box is checked and you are all set to go. We're going to go ahead and get into this a little bit later, but right now you have send clock and then you have receive clock. So we're going to close out that for now and everything is all good. All right, so now that the Mio is showing up in our machine, we want to be able to route signal through the software here. So let me go ahead and show you guys how to do just that. We want to take a look at our Fantom. And I'm just going to look at the song mode here to see what is going on with the tracks. So it looks like I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, really 1 through 6. All right. So now we want to come back over to our machine and we want to set that up inside of machine. So basically we're going to set up the routing here. So let me go ahead and go to the channel button here. And on the input and output, we want to make sure we're on the MIDI tab. So input, click MIDI, output, click MIDI. We're going to go back to the input. And I'm just going to hold down shift and I'm going to go to slot number 6. That's just going to select all of them for me. Now we're going to select our source, which is going to be the Mio. I'm going to do the same exact thing for the output. Destination is going to be the Mio. And the next thing we want to do is going to click off that is go up here and make sure the channel button corresponds with the right channel. So again, we're using 1 through 4 and 9 and 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, this is going to be 9, and this is going to be channel 10. And again, once we do that to the output, we want to make sure we're doing that to the input. So again, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, and then we have 10. All right, so that is all good. It's all set up there. I have my source selected. I have my channel selected, both on the input and the output. So I am all good there. Now, another thing that I didn't do, but I want to mention it now, is that you can name this just so you know what is what. So you're going to say Fantom MIDI. And that's just naming the group just to kind of keep everything organized. And then same thing here. So I'm going to look in my keyboard again. So I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10. So I'm just going to keep everything organized. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10. All right. So everything is looking golden there. All right. So everything is pretty much set up both in the machine software and then the keyboard. Now, last but not least, the next thing I want to do is I want to go back to my preferences here. And earlier I mentioned about the clocking here. So we have the send clock, which is if you want to take MIDI data from the machine and send it to an external clock, you can do that with the MIDI. So you would use the mode called send clock, and that's sending data from the machine to whatever your external source is. In this case, mine would be the Fantom X6. Because I'm not sending data there, I want to be receiving the data because I want it to be playing from the Fantom into machine. So I'm just going to do receive the clock. So now it's vice versa. So now I'm taking the MIDI data from the Fantom and feeding it into the machine. So that is those two settings. Now we're going to close out of that And then you can see how the tempo is at 129, and it's the same thing in my Phantoms at 129. Maybe a little bit different, a little bit off because it's not always talking to each other perfectly, and that's okay, but we're still gonna get a perfect loop. And this is why I do it this way. Another thing that I wanna mention, because MIDI is data and it's not audio, is that we wanna be able to monitor what we are doing inside the machine. So we wanna be able to set up a track where we can hear what we're doing. And so in order to do that, what we wanna do, we wanna take the next available track. And I'm just gonna take sound slot number 7 here. We're gonna hit S. So my input here is set to 4L plus R, sync 4, and then the monitor is gonna be on here. All right, so now we're all ready to record. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure this record button is on here. And now you'll see here it says length is the auto, and then I have my track ready queued up to play, and I'm just gonna go ahead and press play, and everything should be synced together. All right, so that is using the automatic mode, and we can pop this off of the record, go back to the preferences, and then we can go ahead and cut this off here, and we should be all good. Option spacebar to play it back. All right, so the last thing that we want to do, we want to be able to take our MIDI and change it into the audio form. All right, so how do we do that? So we're going to simply do that by recording the data into audio, by recording it into Maschine. So we're going to do a right click here, then a left click here, and then I'm just going to go down here and change the inputs to set it to record. Hit S. All right, so I'm just going to change my input to 4L plus R. We're gonna do bar, we know it's 4 bars, and it's in sync mode, so we're gonna hit start here, and then hit the button here to play it back. All right, and that is all good there. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and play it back. And also don't forget to turn on your monitor button as well. All right, so now what we want to do, you can come up here and name this. And I'm just going to call this piano riff. All right. And then instead of having a sampler, we can change this into the audio format. And then we hit S. And then now we don't even need this MIDI here. And so it just plays back as normal. And so now I can change the tempo. I can adjust everything. And let's say this is 129. So we're going to go back to 129. And it's going to play back perfectly. So if I change my mind, I could change the pitch. I can change the length. I can change anything, make it faster, slower, all done right here inside the machine. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the bell notifications. Your boy Young Fizz, aka Mr. Dope Status, and we will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching. We out.